Hi, let's learn how to subdivide sections for a government survey system legal description.
The government survey system. To create the government system, 37 intersecting principal meridian lines and baselines are positioned throughout the United States. A grid of intersecting lines are created, working out from the primary reference lines. The lines are spaced 6 miles apart. Townships. The intersection of two range lines and two township lines form a township, which measures 6 miles by 6 miles, or 36 square miles. Numbering system of sections within township. Sections. Intersection of two range lines and two township lines form a 6-mile square called a township. Each township is 6 miles by 6 miles, or 36 square miles. Within each township, there are 36 sections, each measuring 1 mile by 1 mile, or 1 square mile. Numbering sections. Each section is identified as a number from 1 to 36, locating it within the township. The point of the system is to identify where a property is that someone owns. Property owners rarely own as much as 36 square miles, the size of an entire township. Therefore, townships are divided into 36 sections, which are each measuring 1 mile squared, or 1 mile by 1 mile, or 1 square mile, and are called sections. Subdividing sections. Each section is 1 square mile, which equals 640 acres. A property owner rarely owns 640 acres in total. Each section must then be divided through a method of quartering the section, which forms 4 quadrants. Just as a property owner rarely owns a plot of land as large as a township, 36 square miles, a property owner rarely owns an entire section, 1 square mile, or 640 acres. So with legal descriptions using the government survey system, each section must be divided into smaller units. This is done by quartering a section into 4 quadrants, and then each quadrant is quartered again and again until the remaining unit represents the property. Each quadrant is again quartered until the remaining unit represents the property size and location. The last division of the property is often a half unit rather than a quarter. Here we see a section that was 640 acres. As it gets quartered, it becomes smaller and smaller based on the remaining area. Starting at 640 acres and becoming 160 acres, and then 40 acres, and then 10 acres, and finally 5 acres when changing from quartering to the final half. When reading a legal description, read from left to right. However, when identifying the location or size of the property, the description is handled from right to left. Here is another example of a legal description showing the quartering process. The south 1/2 of the southeast 1/4 of the northeast 1/4 of section 1 of T2S-R3W of the Tallahassee Principal Meridian and Baseline. The property identified as the south 1/2, southeast 1/4, northeast 1/4 of section 1 of T2S-R3W of the Tallahassee Principal Meridian and Baseline can be located by starting at the Tallahassee Principal Meridian and Baseline intersection. The township is then located by plotting the intersecting lines of T2S and R3W. That township is divided into 36 sections and section 1 is chosen. Then, working our legal description further to the left, it is quartered. Of the 4 quadrants created, the northeast one is chosen. The northeast quadrant is also quartered. and then the southeast quadrant is chosen, and it is cut in half. The south half of that quadrant identifies the location of the property. Now, repeating the previously stated quartering of the legal description, look at the south one half of the southeast one quarter of the northeast one quarter of section 1 of T2SR3W of the Tallahassee Principal Meridian and Baseline in the following visual steps. We start by recalling that we are starting at the Tallahassee Principal Meridian and Baseline intersection. We then find our township by plotting a line that is 3 range lines to the west of the principal meridian. And then we plot a line that is 2 township lines to the south of the baseline. This creates the intersecting outside lines of the township. As a result, our township is located. Then, working our legal description further to the left, we see that we are working with section 1 of the township. Section 1 is quartered. The south one half of the southeast one quarter of the northeast one quarter of section 1, township 2SR3W of the Tallahassee Principal Meridian and Baseline. The northeast quarter of section 1 is located. Working our legal description farther to the left then, the northeast quarter of section 1 is also quartered. And the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter of section 1 is located. Until finally, the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter of section 1 is halved, meaning divided in half rather than quartered. And the south half of the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter of section 1 is located. And this is the exact location of our property shown in a visual manner.